Alright, sorry about that, guys. We just came back. Um, there was no audio, so I apologize about that. I made a rookie mistake by not having the audio on. But Ali, man, yes, sir. I'll go ahead and fix it. You're kind of a demanding guy there, Ali, but I will do that for you. What's up, Ramsey? Thanks for coming by. Appreciate it. Can you guys hear me now? Let me know. Let me know, and we'll keep this going. All good now. Good to know, Ramsey. I was saying, without audio, it's been a good week. I did actually 2 GitHub projects. Let's see. What a noob. Yeah, totally noob. You know what's funny there, Corey, is it asked me if I wanted to hide that comment. Like it was real nasty. No, I know you, man. I did a project with just standard HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, no jQuery, to see if I could make a page. And that was great. And then I did a quick React project with a chat app. They're on my GitHub. I'm not going to show them now, but we can definitely, but if you want to, you can definitely take a look at them and see what's on there. So let me go ahead and actually pull up the repo if you're interested in that later. Give me just a moment. What have you guys been up to? Let's see here. You know, just trying to keep my GitHub. I'm just trying to keep my GitHub kind of having something, because it's a little sparse. It always is, though, to be honest. Let's see. Now, can I remember how to switch? Yeah, there we go. So here's my handle here. It's not a fantastic GitHub, but it has some projects in there. I don't put in a lot of projects, so you know, there's that. Let's see. Let me go ahead and read some of these comments. Steven Grider's React Native. Yeah, I want to get into that, but man, there's only so much time, you know, between videos and algorithms and data structures and Maximilian's course. Too much time. And Maximilian's course is like twice as long as the React Native course, Corey. So it's kind of crazy. Ramsey says, I'm new to JS. What is a good first project for GitHub? Good first project for GitHub. I know a lot of people do a to-do app or a calculator. Ramsey, do you know any HTML and CSS? It's good. It's good, Ikiro. Nice to see you here. I haven't seen you for a minute. Which repo is the latest, Corey says? They're both like at the same time, just basic static web page and simple chat app. Nothing like nothing serious. More like I just got to get something out there and make sure I'm putting these things on the page. So I try to do them quick, but you know, just remembering the structure of like how to make a menu after you haven't done it for a while and stuff. So yeah, go ahead and take a look. It's just really important to stretch, you know, that brain, because we can learn so much without actually putting anything there. Did I go to the extreme? No, but I got something out, which was more important to me. To just have something there that says, hey, yeah, I'm still here. So definitely check it out. You know, I'm going to go ahead and share this live stream with some people in the Self-Taught Programmers app. Ikro, what have you been up to, man? Apologize about the wait. Man, you know, I'll tell you what, like, has anyone here had problems, problems like when they get into a new framework or like a new library or something? Like, does anyone have a really hard time with the context switching? Let me know, because I had that issue, and I say it all the time, but get those basics down, man. Once you know what a data structure is, excuse me, sorry about that. Once you know what a data structure is, what a how to make a few of them, and then how to do some algorithms, it's going to be easier, I should say. It's going to be easier to just pick up a library quickly. So I recommend doing that. I think it was, let me go ahead and find your name again, man, but you were saying like what to start out with. I wouldn't start out with algorithms because they're not as fun, but it would definitely be like one of the first things I learned. But a calculator or to-do app is a pretty good thing to start with. I'm just uploading this. I'm just sharing this link with my Facebook group. All right, there we go. Okay, I'll come read your question. Sorry about that, guys. Ramsey says, I'm very comfortable with HTML and CSS. Yeah, definitely do that. Make like a static web page and then just do a few like changes. You're gonna look it up through GitHub, not GitHub, Stack Overflow, and you're gonna also do Stack Overflow. Mozilla MDN, excuse me, the Mozilla Developer Network, maybe even W3 Schools. I know a lot of people hate on them, but the basic content is there. So definitely check those out when you're making an HTML CSS page, and just do a few things like when you click something, something appears or disappears, and then the text changes or scrolls you up to the top. That's just what I did, and I did it all without jQuery. So you can definitely do it, and if you can do it without jQuery, you can make better decisions. Not that you shouldn't use jQuery. You should definitely use jQuery. If you're not using React, if you're just doing like web design or getting started, use jQuery, but you can do it without it. And I did that with this page, just to prove it to myself. Hey, I don't need to use that huge library to do a few things on the page. Corey says, yeah, hard on React. Yeah, hard on React. Can you tell me what that was referring to? Sorry about the confusion here. All right, let's go ahead and see who's all here. Do you guys find it easier to study web development in the winter if you're from like a cold area, or in the summer? I don't think it makes too much of a difference except for the heat. Last year I did not get air conditioning because I didn't think I needed it, but I was wrong. But I think I do actually better in the winter just because everyone else is inside. I don't have to feel like, oh man, what am I doing? Although, study anytime, but that's just my preference. Oh, if you asked if we had trouble switching to frameworks, and so Corey did have a hard time switching to React. I did too. And that one's really hard because it's a huge framework, just like Angular. But data structures, algorithms, it's going to be easier. I did like Node Mailer, and that one was kind of tricky, but because I already knew more about objects and I'd seen a few things like jQuery Validator, it's like, okay, this is an object. Okay, this is how it's calling. Like in one of my courses, they had a get mean mode, and it was like an object, right? And within the object, you called a bunch of functions and returned them. And you wrote this all out. I'll actually share the code in a moment. But it's like, okay, I can see how some of these libraries are working and what it's doing. Winter for sure, Ramsey says. Corey says he prefers sunlight when studying. But let me go ahead and pull that up. And I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. I'll pull up the actual algorithm. Because once you know how these things work, and you've kind of done a few things, and I mean, if you helper libraries, even like with Bootstrap, they have all these classes that you can just append onto your HTML elements or your React elements. You can start doing that yourself, and you can understand like how Bootstrap works. If you're new or you haven't tried that, you should definitely try to build your own library, and then you can make those components. You can make those things work like kind of like components. You have them set. And so you can definitely think about things a lot differently when you do these algorithms, data structures, just learning about all these objects and stuff. And we can do that, but it's going to be like, okay, yeah, I don't need to know the internal workings because I know how it's doing it, or this is hidden away somewhere. It's not some cryptic thing, you know. It's not like some black box. Well, it is a black box, but you know that there's more to it, and you don't need to know, rather than like, what is going on here? Let's see here. These are data structures. We don't want data structures. Give me just a moment. I don't think I have this on screen yet. We'll put this on screen. I see your questions. I'll get there. I apologize. So here is learning algorithms from scratch. Like I've been like touting this course for like a month and a half. I'm not getting paid by this guy. It just it's probably like the simplest one I could find, because he has like solutions and you can work backwards, and you can do it within the browser on the same text editor and have like immediate feedback using REPL-IT. REPL-IT is just here. REPL.IT. And so you can see the same thing he's going through, and just go through the go through the exercise with him. But let's go ahead and get into that mean median mode that I've done. It's a big problem. I haven't learned how to write this one from memory yet. I can get about halfway through. But we were talking about like libraries and how like confusing it can be, and sometimes you'll have objects or something weird that's going on. Well, this takes a, let me go ahead and increase the font size here. This takes a function, and it returns it returns an object with a function, and each one of these functions returns something, like, and it takes an array, mean median mode. So you can see here that we take a median in, and we output return median, which goes here and gets returned to this function. So you're going to learn a lot about how things are set up, recursion and all that stuff. And you're like, oh yeah, okay, I get it. In fact, let's just go ahead and paste this code into REPL-IT real quick, so you can get an idea of what's going on. If you really like that stuff, if you're into that stuff, that's a good course to start with, because it's easy. You know, it's beginner level for sure. So I would definitely check it out. Let's see. No, I don't want HTML, CSS. I just want JavaScript. Okay. All right, so here we are. It's loading. Oh, it's so slow. You know how I've talked about this stuff. Okay, so maybe I should take myself off screen here. No? Okay. So it takes this function, returns something from a function that we put in, and does it again. Let me go ahead and blow this up a little bit again. See, so we have our main function that we just did, and we put an array in here, 9, 10, 23, and then we get the mean back. This takes the sum, it adds up all the numbers, divides it by the length of the array, and returns the mean, which is 14. Okay, and that's how a lot of these things are kind of working. Not everything, but that's just an example of how you're going to be able to be like, okay, yeah, this framework works like this or that. Let's see here. What do we got? 7 watching here. Message retracted. Drones. Okay, let's see. Tank Cabby says, Ricky, I'm 13, so how can I start a company that's online with React website and Node database? Whoa there, Tank. Slow down. But yeah, I'll definitely answer some of those questions. Don't forget your younger audience. My youngest Tank, my audience is typically 18 to 32 is the main chunk. But I didn't forget about you guys. I'll definitely answer your question. It's great to see someone so young really passionate about this, because I have a 10-year-old son, so only 3 years younger than you. And man, I wish he was into this. Recursion is complicated, in my honest opinion. Recursion is complicated, Corey. We'll talk about that in a minute. You've been trying to find a good algorithm course, Ramsey says. You're welcome. It's very good, but that doesn't mean that he's going to teach you everything. You're going to still have to get in there and do a lot of console logs when you don't understand what's going on. So if we get in here and you don't see something that you understand, go into the code, console log. Let's say console log array. See, and then the array comes over here. Is that your girlfriend? I don't know. Anyway, Drone says, oh no, he's talking about Madison. Madison is not my girlfriend. He's watching another video. No, she's just a friend, and she's great. I like Madison a whole lot. He's talking about the previous video that I did, which is my first year as a web developer. So something to look into. Talking about recursion, talking about console logs. Oh, Tank Happy, I'm so sorry. Let's get back to your question. If you're going to want to start a company that's online with React website and Node database, you should learn a lot more about business, marketing, general, just general money things that you're looking for. So I would recommend that you start looking at HubSpot. That will get you some marketing. And but if you want to build websites, just start making React and Node stuff. But for free courses that are really great, and because you're 13, I totally understand that. Check out Hubspot Academy. Now you might have to sign a form or something, so I don't know if you need to check with your mom or dad to do this, but just FYI to anyone that's younger. Here's HubSpot Academy. Let me put it on screen first. Here's HubSpot Academy, and they'll teach you about content marketing, inbound certification, inbound sales, and you can do your HTML and CSS on the side. Now you have time, okay, Tank? You got plenty of time when you're 13, but at the same time, that means you're going to still have to put in some work. I wish I started earlier when I was your age because I won't have to work so hard now. But put in some work, put in your HTML, CSS, and then do some of these courses, like the inbound certification. Sorry about that. That's what happens when you work at, do live streams in public spaces. But do some of this inbound certification. Try to get the certification. Do some content marketing certification. It might be hard, and even if you don't pass, if you finish the course, you're leaps and bounds above kids your age, and that's a great introduction to marketing. Gurdeep says, please shout out my name. I am your big fan. Well, I tried. Gurdeep's sign. See, hi. I tried, man. My apologies. Ramsey says, Ricky, did you include non-web dev experience on your resume? I feel like these companies see my work history and don't even visit my site. Yeah, a little bit, but it still has to be like, Ramsey, it still has to contribute to your stuff, right? So I did blogging and marketing. I did a social media job. I got the social media job because I did blogs and had a little bit of a YouTube channel. And so a lot of these places where you get your start are going to be like marketing places, right? And with that, they're gonna see that and be like, oh, we could use that too, or he gets us. He's going to be a better fit, something like that. But it depends on where you're at. And so I use that. I put on a lot of like, here's my YouTube. I made my resume look really good. Like I proved that I could do graphic design too. I knew how to use Photoshop, and that's how I kind of got my in. And when I came from like a banking industry and college with an econ degree. So yeah, and keep on doing your first site, but it's going to take time. I've done a few videos where I talked about that with Telmo. Telmo is actually going to be on the channel later today. I have to actually, we're going to actually talk about it in our first year in web development. So it's a series, not just Madison on here. But on his channel, he had me on, and I talked about how, I thought I was done after the nano degree, like quote unquote done, ready. It wasn't enough, man. I got a couple of interviews. It wasn't enough. Then I saw the social media, they wanted some WordPress on the side, got in there, and that was good. And then learned a little more HTML, CSS, put those on the back burner to get good at social media and the artistic side. And I did that for about like 6 months straight, like just in there, like learning all the stuff with photography, marketing, digital marketing, reviewing your analytics, doing the copywriting, responding, like creating a relationship like we do here. And then after those 6 months, I was still like shooting YouTube videos here and there and had a portfolio of my social media clients. And then I made a new Bootstrap website. It was okay. But then I applied for a job here. They didn't get back to me for like a month. and that's okay because they got back to me and now I have a job now. And so they took those past experiences. It was for a marketing department, and they were able to see, okay, this guy gets us. It's going to be easier for him to get what we're doing here. So that's how I kind of related that stuff. But if you have something like John Sonmez was actually saying in his book, Software Developer's Career Guide, like if you have some like niche experience, like say you are from like the health industry, if you can make something like websites for them and then try to find something in the health industry, it's harder to find someone with industry experience that can also do development versus someone with development with no industry experience or minimal industry experience. Ramsey says, Telmo's videos are great. Are you guys doing a live? We won't be doing live, but you can always ask stuff in the questions, so definitely check that out. And I'll be sure to link my interview at the end of the video. Hey Tank, you're welcome. Sorry, I haven't had all my coffee yet. Not that you need coffee all the time. Just me. You know, a question for Tank, if you're still here. What made you want to do web development? What made you look into that as a 13-year-old? Because I'm trying to get my own kid into it, but you know, it's kind of a hard thing. But you know what? I would say also, Tank, for those who are younger or who have kids that are younger, that you're trying to get into it, I found don't start out with the programming. That's hard stuff. Start off with stuff that they're going to need anyway, like learning how to type well, efficiently. If you can type efficiently, then you're going to be much easier, because it's going to be much easier for you because you're not focusing on the keyboard, you're focusing on the actual problem. There was just a discussion in the Facebook group, we talked about this, and that was my response, is you should be good at touch typing, not because it's, hold on, let me think, not because you'll type your code out fast, but because you can focus more on your code rather than breaking your train of thought. This dude named Santiago Gonzalez, Tank says, this dude, Santiago Gonzalez, who attended college at 12, so much fuel. Well, that's, oh yeah, I saw that, where he dreams in code. A lot of people dream in code, but I understand. Just remember, a little bit of comparison, I might have a different opinion on this than others, so a little bit of comparison is good. But also remember to reflect and see your own progression, how much you've improved, and not just how good Santiago is and how far behind you are. So keep that in mind, especially where you're 13. Plenty of time to learn the basics of programming, algorithms, data structures, then the rest is all syntax. So kind of think of it like learning English and learning how to spell, and then taking those, and you know how to make sentences, and then you know how to make paragraphs, right? And then maybe in class later you'll have to write what's called a haiku. You'll have to learn how that structure works. It's a poem, a Japanese poem, if you don't know. And you'll probably have to do that sometime in high school. But because you have the foundations of English, you know how to write a sentence, a paragraph. You can take all that knowledge and apply it to your framework, which in this case would be like a haiku, a certain way of writing a poem. Let's see. Prodigy programmer dreams in code, yeah. The ninja. What's up, ninja? Holy crap. The ninja. Let's see. Give me just a moment here. Thanks for coming on over. PhD at 12 years old. Wow. That's what I think. So yeah, does that answer your question? Let me know, Tank. The Net Ninja. Okay. Sorry about the wait there, guys. Yeah, so that's what I have to say about learning at a young age, learning how to type. Oh, and there is a free site to learn how to type. That's really great. I use it all the time with my 10-year-old. And let me just pull that up for anyone, not just for young kids. Although it's definitely skewed towards younger kids. It's Typing Club. Typing Club, and they have a ton of lessons here, like up to 600. So if you're looking to skill up, if you're having some trouble typing, check it out. Oh, also, of course, gotta work the old YouTube. You know what I'm saying? So if you guys do like this content, be sure to share it and leave me a like, because it does help. It does help the channel grow. It's not just me trying to get famous, but with all these crazy changes to YouTube, every little bit helps. What's up, Skillful Actor? Ooh. I'm sorry. Some of these names I just can't get on the first try. But what's up? How you doing? I don't know. Thought I saw someone I knew, and it wasn't someone I knew. Don't you hate that when you like wave to someone you don't know? Oh well. At least I'm here with you guys. I'm doing good. Skillful Actor. How are you doing? So yeah. Oh, and by the way, that typing, learn touch typing for free is free. So check it out. You'll be really happy you did. What's the conversation? I just dropped in Skill Factor. Right now it's just Q&A, right? So you can ask anything. I should probably put that in the title. Ask anything. We were talking about how to get younger, if you're younger, like in your teens, preteens, how to get into this, how to get into web development, what you should learn, and my opinions on it. And I just said basically typing, learning the basics, learning how to type is great. Start there. Start with the basics, not even like programmatic stuff. Once you have that down, go on to some basic things like Treehouse. And typing's going to carry over no matter what you do, because we got to use computers all the time. But you're going to have to think less about like where is this specific key and focus more on typing itself. So, thanks Ramsey. Thanks for the thumbs up. Appreciate it. Yeah, for this day, I got more learning on the on Udemy. I've been hammering away at those algorithms, hammering away at them, just doing them through REPL-IT, then writing them out, then looking through them, console logging, just understanding as much as I can about all the things that you do there: splice, split, push, creating like a new, like using constructor functions to make new objects. Oh man, it's helped out so much. And so right now I am on, if it will ever load, I'm on the React 16 Complete Guide. 165 out of 423 items complete. Great course by Maximilian. Check it out. It's definitely helped me out a lot more. I feel guilty because like this portfolio, yeah, you should get it done. It's ready to go. I don't need to do this, but you know, search what you really want to do. Make sure it's fun. Make sure you get like your goals completed before. Like, this is my goal, is to do this first, get through it, do React Router with Tyler McGinnis. Tyler McGinnis has great courses. He's been putting out newer content, but do React Router with Tyler McGinnis, and then make that portfolio website with React. And I did start a quick project by just kind of like scaffolding out the structure and how it works with partials and stuff. It's great. So it's not like I haven't been doing that, but you know, you got to do what's going to keep you passionate and learning. It stressed me out when I was doing that React Udacity Nanodegree. I wasn't ready for it, and so I don't want to be stressed out for my next project. If I'm already working, you know, doing a job and stuff, this should be not as stressful. Skillful Actor says, nice. Yeah, that's true. I've been on computers at the age of 6, and you get used to typing a lot at a lower age. So we're talking about what you should learn. My son's 10. He's been typing a lot more. He's got his like words per minute up to like 22, I think. And we're trying to get that up to 50 words per minute, 40 to 50. Skillful Actor also says, the only thing is that is slow is your thoughts at times, and your fingers aren't really the issue once you get used to it. Right. And that's totally fine. but you got to get to that point, right? I've worked with people before that had to hunt and peck, and it was kind of painful because it took them so long to do this. You'd be talking about something, and they'd be like doing an image or something, and they had to look down to the keyboard to find out what the keyboard shortcut was, and that just is unfortunate because then you're breaking your train of thought. I think we already talked about Tyler McGinnis's course. Check him out. He has some good stuff there. React Fundamentals, Modern JavaScript. I don't know. He's redoing his Redux course right now, but React Router has been updated. So React Router is great. React Fundamentals and Modern JavaScript. They're short courses, but they're very terse, but they're succinct, is what I should say. They're to the point, and you can understand what's going on. It's not verbose. It gets to the point. Daniel, how's it going? In your last video, you mentioned learning basic algorithms. What would be an example of a basic algorithm? I'll pull it back up here, Daniel. We were just talking about these. The best course that I've found, and I don't know if it's the best, but it's worked for me because it's so simple and how you get started. Another thing is algorithms abstract everything else away. You don't have to worry about the DOM. You don't have to worry about the styling of the CSS. You can just worry about the language itself. And that's why algorithms and data structures are so great. It's these two classes, learning algorithms in JavaScript from scratch, learning data structures in JavaScript from scratch. It's on Udemy. FizzBuzz is a basic algorithm, quote unquote basic. Stephen Greider was talking about this, how it's not really that basic. It's just common to ask everyone. And the reason why it's kind of like one of those common ones is because it asks you a lot of like gotchas or something that you might not use too much. Although I will say this, with React Router, I just did like a basic chat app just for fun, right? And I use the modulus or the modulus operator, and all the time. And FizzBuzz was probably the first place I encountered it. But you can see there's if, else blocks, and they're all in one line, so you can learn about formatting. I don't know if he tells you about it, but if blocks, if you've started, you probably see it with curly braces, but if it's a one-line statement, you don't have to write return, and you can take off the curly braces and just do it in one line. Things like this are going to pop up. This is a basic algorithm. I'll increase this for everyone, called FizzBuzz. Another one that he was talking about is binary search. Binary search is quote-unquote basic, but you should do these other basic ones. It's kind of hard to explain, like on a live stream, but you're going to go through a search, and then rather than searching everything like this, you're going to take your search of data, find out which side it's on, like say it's indexed alphabetically, and you have like a book that you need to find that starts with C, right? So Count Monte Cristo or something, and you say, well, let's first look, is it in L through M? No, it's not. We can just throw that whole thing away, so we didn't have to search this half, and then we're going to do it again. Is it from like A through F? Yes, it is, so we'll discard the other half. And so that's a way of learning about search. I wouldn't say it's basic, but these are some examples. Let's try to find a more basic one. And some of them are quote-unquote basic with code, but not actually basic, like recursion with Fibonacci. O of N. These are great things to know for your own projects and performance. So it's a very terse function, but you're going to learn about recursion going through these things. And you'll have to do a lot of console logging and replaying videos and looking up other stuff as well. Reverse words. This would be actually, I would say this one's a basic function. You're going to take a word and you're going to reverse it. And you see all this code, and it can be daunting if you're coming from like something like jQuery. And that's the point, right? A lot of people use these for interviews and stuff, and it's just to show that you know the language. And that's the whole point of these things. Let's see here. Where was I? Oh, after Daniel, Raj says, what website is that? Raj, that was udemy.com. The other one with like the code on it with the console on the side is REPL.it, REPL.it. I have videos telling you about what Udemy is on my channel. A skillful actor says, yeah, your body and mind will come natural to keyboard keys if you will never have to look at it again. Very true. Same thing with algorithms, but not. You're going to have the basics down, just like writing a language, saying common phrases, doing common things with the keyboard, like if statements, else, making arrays, splitting, recursion, putting different functions somewhere, functions inside functions. And that's what that's all about. Corey says, I am not a fan of Tyler's teaching style. I prefer Andrew Mead instead. And see, I'm the other way. Like, Andrew Mead is okay, but I don't like him that much. I don't like him, excuse me. I do like Andrew Mead, but I don't like him as much as Stephen Grider or Tyler. I prefer their teaching styles. He's much more thorough and goes at a pace that fits my learning style. Totally. I totally understand. I found out that I had more holes just in basic JavaScript and went through and did those again, learning about the algorithms, recursion and stuff, right? And the this keyword, because you're going to see old React code that isn't done with ES6, where you're going to have to know, like, why is this like over here? Why is dot this in like this constructor function and the state is here? Why isn't it just set state? All those things are important. Raj says, is learning data structures and algorithms important for web development? That's a loaded question. Yes and no. You're not going to probably make a lot of these things from scratch, but it helps you understand all the basics of the language while taking away, I said this before, so I apologize if I'm repeating myself, HTML, CSS. That presentation layer you don't have to worry about because you can focus solely on JavaScript and learn that. And then mix it in with your code. And I did that with one of the projects I put up on GitHub. It was just a basic web page, and I did that to prove it to myself that I could do it. No Bootstrap, of course, and then also no jQuery. I just had a few things I needed to do. I imported a small library for a slide out, but I did a animation just with some JavaScript to scroll up to the top of the page and toggle some stuff, and I just did it all with JavaScript, and it's because I learned my algorithms. It wasn't a big deal at all. Tank says, what do you think of Colt Steele's advanced web dev and dev bootcamp courses compared to Rob Perval's web course 2.0? Here's the thing, Tank. I haven't taken them, so I can't really speak for them. A lot of people do like them, I'll say that much, but I haven't taken them, and I don't plan on taking them because there's only so much I can take. And I have to still make sure that it's the best like return for me versus like keeping me engaged as well as pushing my own skills. Corey says, Tyler goes so fast, oftentimes I will go through his video and think, what the heck just happened? Yeah, I guess I've kind of gotten used to that, not just Tyler, but in general. So definitely look at that, go over it. It's kind of short, so that's the benefit. Skillful Actor says, hey Ricky, I like your personality and knowledge along with relaxed. I like your personality and knowledge along with being relaxed, along with being a relaxed and cool person. Sorry about that. Thanks. I'm so relaxed. I'm chill, bro. Sorry, I won't do that again. I promise. It takes time, just like anything. I've done a lot of videos, and you learn how to kind of relax. There's two types of videos I put out, maybe three, but you know, there's the produced videos that are a lot more structured, and then there's these videos where we can talk. You know, you'll probably come to my channel because you saw some of my old videos or saw a specific video, and then we can have a better connection with these live videos. Live is great. I love live. You know, talking about YouTube, since we're on there, I just hit 2,300 subscribers. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys subscribing and letting me know how I'm doing and stuff. It really does. It really does help out a ton, because doing a YouTube channel is like its own separate thing, even though it's on web development. So use all the encouragement you can get. I've had more views though in the past couple of weeks than I ever have. Well, that's not true. I had a spike earlier, but the channel's it's finally picking up. Some of these things, just like web development, take time, and it can be frustrating, but if you really like it, you're going to stick with it. And sometimes that means taking a break, or you have to work on a different area. I did a lot of Sass earlier in the year. Well, basically just trying to get up to speed. But like 6 months ago, I was working on Sass. I had to take a break, learn the presentation stuff. But it also helped me learn about more modularity. And then also, I learned Git really well, because we switched our version control at work to Git, which was great, because you know, everyone says they know Git, especially when you're starting out, and you just you learn how to save, commit, like add, commit, push to your repo, and that's it. when you're working with live code, and there's a bunch of different branches that can be a lot more complex, and merging, fetching, pushing, polling, reverting, all these things, so you make sure that your data is on point. And that was great to take a break and learn version control with Git. I loved it. I mean, I quote unquote knew it, but it's not the same until you do it in a production application. But it's still something you should definitely use. Everyone uses that for their own personal projects. The Ninja says, it's really helpful having people like you doing live streams. Thanks, man. Helps me a lot. Thanks. Well, I try. I mean, I'm not. The one thing you should keep in mind, I'm one person, so these are opinions. They're not the. The buck doesn't necessarily stop with me. I'll give my strongest opinion and stuff, but there are a ton of other courses that you should look at, or a ton of other things that you should look at as well. Abhijit says, Sass versus Bootstrap. Oh man, Sass, man. Sass all the way. Or less or something, but I say Sass. Bootstrap will help you get something up fast, right? But it's not going to teach you a lot about CSS. If you know CSS and JavaScript, it might teach you about creating reusable stylings or reusable components, which is great, but so will Sass. And you don't need Bootstrap. It's more customizable. The only thing is like you have to have some sort of design chops. Not a ton, but if you're going to do Sass, you should. But you should learn it anyway, right? After you can learn Sass, Bootstrap is easy to pick up, because you'll understand how classes work a lot better. It was really confusing for me to learn Bootstrap. Granted, I've learned everything on my own. I haven't had like anyone in front end, so it might be easier for you if you go to meetups or you have someone there to help you out. But Sass all the way. Daniel says, thanks for all the info. I will have to watch this again. Awesome, man. There's a lot of stuff on here too, Daniel. So if you're looking for anything, that might be on the channel, like your first year in web development. The differences between all the different learning platforms. I have older reviews on these platforms as well, and things like how to market yourself as a web developer, how to use Quora as a developer, and they're just kind of in the channel. So scroll through and you might find something that you want. Skillful Actor said, you said you're going to do a portfolio with React. Where are you getting that from, or is it from scratch? From scratch, man. Because I do this as a job, I know a lot about the HTML, CSS, jQuery, the design side. I know a little bit about React, but it is all from scratch, including like the content and the elements, because I've done all this stuff. Now it's time to combine it into one huge thing and do it. But I do want to get through these courses just because that was my goal. I want to do these online courses with Maximilian because they're starting to fill in more holes. Algorithms fill in the basic foundation. The rest of these classes are filling in even more holes with React. Are you ever planning on becoming full stack? If yes, how? Tank says. Oop, excuse me, I missed a few here. Bassy, nice to see you here. Good job, bro. Good job. Thanks. Thank you. Ramsey says, I don't know Sass, but I feel Bootstrap is using a cheat code. It is, and sometimes it's great to get up to speed if you don't need HTML and CSS. Like say you're a back-end developer or something and you're just trying to get something up, then don't use it. If you need just to display something and make your code work, that's fine. But if you're going to want to do front-end, definitely get into all those things. You should learn Bootstrap, but learn the basics of CSS and a little bit of Sass, and it's going to help go a lot longer or a lot farther than Bootstrap. You could use that as a crutch. But once you understand, okay, this is how I make a reusable class, this is what Bootstrap is doing. This is why I can't override this because of the specificity of H1 or something like that, or an ID. And if that doesn't make sense, it will when you start learning CSS. You'll remember that. Tank says, are you ever planning to become full stack? If yes, how? I actually have done a full stack app at work with HTML, CSS, jQuery, a slew of dependencies, and Node with a slew of dependencies. So it's the MERN stack is what I'm actually looking into. Earlier in the year, I learned a lot about MongoDB. Should have learned about those data structures and algorithms first, unfortunately. But I learned MongoDB, and I learned Node, Express, and React. So they all go together, and Redux now. And the more you do, the more it makes sense. Especially when you're sending off those requests, like a GET request and a PUT request, when you can see it both ways. Like you're calling data from the computer, right? You're saying, come get this data. Well, if you're doing both sides, you're going to really learn about what that is and what's going on. Because I'm saying, get this data, and I have the data, like I have the database or the structure, right? with all the objects that have like shirts or something, and the prices and the quantities and the description. And it says, get this data from this area, on the back end. And then it says, okay, and then return this data to the front end. And then the front end, I have to write, okay, now display it like this. You're going to learn so much more. But it is hard. Learning one side is great. Learn your core function, and then learn your basic HTTP requests and stuff. Daniel says, I'm learning web dev now. Any ideas, suggestions for basic projects? Of course, your first one should be probably a portfolio page. It can suck. That's totally fine. And it doesn't even have to be a portfolio page. It just has to be something, but I would make something practical. Something that you're going to want to have to show people, even if you are getting started. Approach it with the intention of being professional. As professional as you can, though. Don't get yourself down. So if you're going to do portfolio stuff, that's where I would start. Ali says, how to convert web coding into Android coding that can help to publish in Play Store. Ali, I don't know. Google is your friend. Some of these things, like, I can't do. Abhijit says Sass versus Bootstrap. Abhijit, can you be more specific? I think we talked about this earlier, but Sass all the way. Bassi says, mastering JavaScript is key to nowadays web development. Yeah, it is. If you're going to learn jQuery, like Dylan said from Coding Tutorial 360, it's more of a design. It's more of a designer's tool. And you can still use it. You can still do web development with jQuery, but it's definitely more design-based. But you'll learn about JavaScript if you do jQuery. It's just going to be more abstracted. It's going to be harder to move to different frameworks. So when you learn the basic jQuery stuff, it's easier to move to different frameworks. Let's see. Bassi says, oh, you know what? We already talked about that one. Ramsey says, at Bassi, you are 100% right. Every job that has reached out to me has asked me to solve some JS problem or algorithms. Yeah, man. That's where it's at. And it depends on your area. A lot of people in my area that I've talked to that are looking to get into this say that they're applying for jobs, and it's PHP. A lot of PHP here. And a lot of more like project-based. It's not so much algorithms. So it depends on your area too, and where you're planning to go. "13 watching, wow, that's pretty good, guys. I'm happy to have all 13 of you here. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Any questions? Any more questions? You can go ahead and, if you have any questions, just let me know. We are coming up on our hour mark. That's usually where I like to stop these live streams. But if you have questions, we can keep going. No big deal. How's Ricky? Well, I'm pretty good actually, man. You know, I want to get all these things done, and you're ambitious, but then you take a step back and you have your goals and you readjust them, which we talked about on the last live stream. And yeah, Bassi says there's a current shortage of React developers. But Jordan, sorry, stay focused. But you go through a lot of these things, and you understand, like, okay, I'm lacking this knowledge. Go back. Readjust your timeline. I'm so happy I've done a lot more algorithms. I'm so happy that I've focused so heavy on data structures. And I'm not saying I'm a pro at them, not at all. But because I know they exist and how a lot of these are working, like linked lists, hash tables, so much easier. And then you see things like, oh, state, that's kind of like a hash table. There's an object or something like that. It's just so much better. So I'm doing good. Abhijit says, is Angular 5 similar to React or a complete framework and not only UI? As far as I know, Angular is a complete framework, but I don't use Angular myself. So I take that with a grain of salt. At Jordan, Bassi says, is this Jordan from Udacity? This is Jordan from Romania, but I'll let you give him the official answer there, Jordan. Monty, I don't think I've seen you here, so thanks for coming. What's your opinion on Python being the first language to learn? I haven't used Python myself, but I've heard great things. A lot of people say that Python is written really beautifully, and it's a great language to start with. So, you know, from secondhand opinions, I've heard that it's a great language to start with, but I don't have firsthand experience. Monty, it really depends more on what you want to do with Python. If you want to be a developer, like a front-end developer, you should learn JavaScript first. And there's really no replacement for it. That's what's used on the web. If you want to do data structures and algorithms, I've heard Python is great. But do some more digging on that. Bassy says, Ricky, are you learning Ricky, you are learning what most self-taught fail to learn. Yeah, well, I learned from failing at that. Thanks. But yeah, that's the thing. Is you go back and you see your holes, and you're seeing like what's the difference between college-educated and self-educated. Just searching Quora, and they're talking about algorithms, data structures, and a lot of that stuff. Basically, those are the main things. Modular code. And so there's a few books, Clean Code, that I'm looking at. Code Complete. I was looking at that, but it was too C# rich, and I was getting kind of lost in the details of C# or C++. So I just switched over to Clean Code. Let's see here. Jordan says, Ricky, I started PHP in college before JS. I really hate JS, but enjoyed PHP. Should I work from PHP to JS since they're kind of similar? Here's the thing with a lot of these programming languages. The main things are the same, right? But they all have their quirks. They all have their different things, and some are closer to others. Like think about English. My American English is going to be a little bit different than UK. The Great Britain's English, or Australia's English, or Hong Kong's English, right? And some are a little bit closer, like Spanish is close to Italian, something like that. So they all have their quirks, but they all have their basic function. So do what you want, I guess. I mean, it really depends on what you're looking for. Are you looking to get a job as fast as possible? Still do PHP and JavaScript together, but don't stress it. If you have time, just really try to get the fundamentals of programming down in general, not just PHP, and search what that means through Quora, and get the PHP books that will help you do that. So, like, I think PHP is a scripting language. I haven't used it myself. But, if you can do like algorithms and data sets or data structures with that, learn that, and then go to JavaScript and learn the differences. Let's see here. Ramsey says, also Python is where it's at, by the way. That's what I've heard, man. Data scientists are really into that. Bassy says, yes, Monty, Python helps you understand programming really well. Monty says, Bassy, thank you. Sorry, I'm just reading these comments back that kind of are self-explanatory here. J is coming, Maddie AS is coming. Sorry, I can't say that because of the YouTube algorithm. They'll get me. But I see you here, Jay. I'm learning web development, HTML, CSS, little bit of JS, PHP, MySQL. Any tips? Yes. That is a lot of stuff to learn at the beginning. Kind of try to focus on a 2 or 3. I recommend HTML, CSS. It really depends on what your goal is, but get those down. And I don't mean like mastered, but get those down where you can make something. And then move to your programming languages, whether that be JavaScript or PHP, and do a little bit of database stuff. So if you're doing PHP, great time to do MySQL with it. If you're doing JavaScript, focus on JavaScript. It's a huge topic, huge language. But don't try to focus on the whole stack at once. It's very hard, and it's less effective. Probably some of the best advice I got was to focus on something really deep for a long time. The differences between learning something like this is, yeah, some of that stuff will fade, but if you think about exercise, right, you got to keep on it, right, every day, come back. Coding is like that, but not nearly as bad. Like, we got to learn every day, but if I learn something, it sticks a lot longer than, like, say, exercise. And so if I learn really deep, I can come back to it, and a lot of those details have been preserved, in my opinion. Does that answer your question, Jay? Ugh. Cold coffee, gross. Just going to go ahead and check out the live stream here. 15 watching, man. We're almost up on 1 hour, and I don't want to quit. I have to meet Telmo here in about an hour, but I can, well, an hour and a half, but I can stay for 15 more minutes. If you guys have something to talk about, that is, if you guys have questions. I guess I should probably ask you guys questions. Do you guys do a lot of self-taught? Is it almost all self-taught, or do you have like a group of people that you work with, or that you learn with? Jay says, "Thanks. Right now, I'm just copying a website template. Sorry, guys. Yeah, that's fine. And even if you're like taking the data and then you're switching it, or just looking at something, and then, hey man, how's it going? Finally, someone I knew." Instead of that person I didn't know earlier. Instead of, you can take it, and even if you really wanted to, just copy the HTML, CSS text by text, and you're still going to learn a little bit as long as you're taking notes and constantly refreshing the browser. You should learn how to find some way to automatically refresh the browser, by the way. Live server with NPM is great, but that's kind of like a huge leap. But look for something like that, and that's going to cut down your time on refreshing the browser. Teresa Sen says, which frameworks can be more effective and worth learning as a beginner? jQuery. If you're a beginner, learning jQuery is going to help you get started, and it will be encouraging. Also learn basic JavaScript, but if you want to get that quick win and like have something displayed to the browser, jQuery is great. And then learning your foundation with JavaScript, and then React, because React will help you learn not just like React stuff, but like higher, like functional programming, like even more JavaScript, I should say, ES6 JavaScript, because you can take over to any framework. Let's see, what's your thoughts on Vue? I don't have an opinion on Vue other than it's like an up and coming, but everyone talks about Vue.js, React.js, and Vue.js, React.js, and Angular. I'm sorry. So those are the things that I think it's one of the big ones. But I've heard great things. Something I saw that was funny on Twitter though is it's not like the new framework anymore that's hot. It's a new React like framework that comes out. So that's what I think about. Like, oh yeah, everything's trying to be React but better. And so maybe React's the way to go. It's no longer just like, oh, this is the new framework, this is how to use it. It's like, oh, this is like React but better. So yeah, same and alone. Forever alone, Ninja. No. We have meetups here though that I can talk to people who actually like code. And now that I'm into React and like full stack development, a lot of those things are able to carry over, even though they don't. They don't do like the UI and stuff, but learning about modular components, writing clean code, writing readable code, things that help you do that. It's great to talk to those guys about that. Ramsey says, when do you normally live stream? When I can, man. When I can. I know when I can. When I can, because it's about 10 usually that I live stream on the weekends, Saturday or Sunday. Not always both days, but when I can get it in. But really, it's just about trying to get content to the channel, and where I'm trying to focus more on the programming. I'm still putting out about 2 videos a week. I want to do 3 like you should, but I'm at 2 videos a week, 1 live stream, 1 produced piece, because they take a ton of time. Bassy says, I'm a self-taught programmer. I did electronics engineering in college, moved to Cisco networking, and then studied data analysis before focusing on web development. Man, you've had a very rich, IT-rich career. Hats off to you. You're welcome, Teresa? Is that what it was? Try my best, Teresa Sen. Ramsey says, I started learning in college, but the problem is all the effective classes have nothing to do with web dev. I wish I could relate. I know a lot of people complain about that they use JavaScript and not Java. They use not JavaScript. They use Java, and they're kind of behind. But it is what it is. If you're in college and you're getting a degree, computer science isn't a terrible degree. Software engineering isn't a terrible degree. You're going to learn the basics, and then you can move on to your next thing, which can be frustrating, but and expensive. So if you're going to college, that's not a bad way to go. But if you can't, don't stress it. You can still learn these things. Look up like what they learn and learn it yourself for much cheaper. All right, here, let's see. We are at the 1 hour mark. Speak now or forever hold your peace. I'm going to go for about 5 more minutes here, guys, and then call it quits because I got to get over to my place so I can set up the my my video chat with Telmo for my next video. Jay says, "Hey Ricky, is a degree required in IT jobs like web development or software?" Well, I have a degree in economics that has nothing to do with software, so no. But it depends on where you're at. Some people will be like, "Yeah, you need a degree," or you need a computer software degree. But where I'm from, no. There's too big of a shortage, and what matters more is what you can produce and what you know. Jay says, I'll be relocating to Europe. Europe is very broad, so search exactly where you're going, like Germany or, Ukraine, somewhere like that, before, because that's just too broad to get really specific about what you're learning and what applies to you. Next year, yeah. The Ninja says, it does help you a lot, though. Yeah, that's the thing, is like, but don't think you need it to learn web development or to get a job, but you will have to work hard, very hard. It does help. For me, my degree has not helped too much, at least in my experience. But even at this job, they mentioned it, but I don't use it too much. Ramsey says, click that like button, people. Yes, please. Thanks, Ramsey. I appreciate it. Yeah, if you do like this content or you think someone else could use this, it could help someone else. If you see any of my content that does that, please share it with them. For one, it's going to be helpful to them, and two, it's helpful to me. Everyone wins. Bassie says, if you learn the basics, you get in college, then picking up web development should not be difficult. Right. Where I didn't learn any of that, it was very difficult to learn. Another thing, though, is like when you're doing front-end web development, to be really deadly, you should learn design, and that's another skill that is a lot different. So, all these things you can do. Jay says Spain or Denmark. Check them out, man. I live in Idaho, very far away from those places, so I haven't looked into them. So my apologies, I can't give you a specific recommendation. Ramsey says, oh yeah, can you explain about using Photoshop to make a resume? I could, but probably your best bet for Photoshop stuff that I can say off the top of my head is Roberto Blake on YouTube. So he's also like social media and stuff, so he has things there, but just Google that. But I know Roberto Blake has some good stuff on Photoshop, but you can probably just, look for a YouTube tutorial. There are really good Photoshop tutorials online. Ramsey says, I always heard using design color on resume was a no-no. I mean, it depends on where you're at. For me, it's helped me stand out to the types of company working as a remote developer. What? You see this stuff? That coding tutorials 360 is getting out? Let me finish this up so you all can get over to that live stream. But let me see. Sorry. For me, working with color has been great for my resume. It helps me get the jobs that I want, right? So the employers that don't like that aren't people I want to work with anyway. You don't. I've heard people say you want a really vanilla resume when you're getting web development jobs, but if you look normal or quote unquote like plain, you're not going to stand out to anyone versus you're going to stand out to everyone or that specific person. So take that with a grain of salt, but it really depends on your area and what you're looking to get into. Alright guys, well I'm going to call it a day. Thanks for coming, I appreciate it. I'll stay in the comments for a minute and then get my day started doing some more coding. It's a great day to code. Alright guys, have a good one. Talk to you later.